Then we're going to take, in order to make the cone, we're going to take a square piece. It's 10.5 by 10.5. So basically 21 squares by 21 squares will give you 10.5 inches. Let's take a ruler, and you want to lay it across where it goes from corner to corner, like so. Take you a Sharpie and just mark across it. Turn it and do the same thing from other corner to the other corner. Now basically what this does is you have lines on the diagonals here, but this center square here has marks on all four corners, so you know that square there is your center. At that point you pick a corner, it doesn't really matter which one, and you start cutting on your dots. You want to cut all the way up to that center square. Don't cut past it, just cut up to the center square. So now you have a slot there. Now basically what you do, this has a slight curve to it. You want to fold it to this side and just start folding this in. And you got to kind of work it as you go. Sometimes it'll get stuck, and you're going to have to fold it in quite a ways. And then just start working it around and making it round. Now don't worry about these long points up here. We're going to cut all that stuff off. You basically want it to fit. Make sure that you have a good cylinder, a good cone that'll fit down in that like so. The tighter you make it, the deeper your cone will be. The shallower, it'll stick out farther. On this one you can see that it comes in probably about 3 inches from this edge to the back side of your cone. So at this point, just pick a spot that looks like it's going to fit okay in your deal, in the end of your cylinder. Take a zip tie and just find two corner sections that are matching up and zip tie it. Now that'll hold it there in place. You can finish bending it so that it'll make a nice cylinder, a nice cone. Now from the bottom of your cone to the point where you have your zip tie, which is just off my line here, you can come over a couple squares and just cut this piece off here. And just continue to work it around to where you have a nice cone. And it doesn't have to be perfect, it can just be close. Now you can see how that'll fit down in that cylinder like so. Now at this point, what you want to do, see if I can get this so you can still see it, is you want to set that down in there, push on the center, and try to make it as center as a cylinder as you can. take your marker and just go around the top edge of your cylinder. Like so. Now you can take your tin snips and don't cut quite on the line, cut just a little bit up from it, not much, but just a little bit. Maybe like 1/8 of an inch. Now once you get this cut and you set this down in that cylinder and you push it down to where it'll kind of snaps in to a point. Once you get it set where you want it, you can still come back and trim off the edges a little bit. Now you can see you have a nice little cone there. And that's going to fit real nice in the end of that. Get rid of this zip tie. That's going to fit real nice in the end of that thing. Now, in order to get your hole in here for the crawfish to crawl through, I just use an 1.5" plumbing fitting, drain fitting. I set it up there and I lay it up, set it upside down like this, set my fitting on there, and it could be whatever. You just don't want it too big so that they could possibly crawl back out, but at the same time you don't want it too small so the big ones can't get in. Those are the ones you're going to want. Take your Sharpie again and just go around the bottom edge. Now for these cones, a lot of guys use mesh net. A lot of them you'll see to buy are made with mesh net. You can do that too. It doesn't really matter. There's nothing to say that it's not any better. I got a buddy of mine that uses those and they work very well for him. I just find instead of going and buying more material, I can just do the same thing by just using what's left with the roll. Now you can buy these rolls in, I think they're like 2 foot by 5 foot long, so you should be able to get a couple of traps out of it pretty easy. And as you can see, now you have a hole. Now what I like to do is I like to take a pair of pliers and just grab some of these and just turn them just a little bit. And what this does is when the crayfish comes through, he'll think it's all nice and smooth and he doesn't have a problem with it. But if he tries to come back out, he will bump these sharp edges and these points sticking back out at him, and they don't like that. And that will cause them to want to stay in the trap. And there's one cone. Basically you want to just make another one to fit on the other end, and just pop that right in there and then just go ahead and zip tie it or wire it up.